Good morning, students. Good morning to all. And last day we have studied about the functions of commercial banks and the reserve banks and the functions of commercial banks in economic development in totality. So today just we will go to the next lesson without having any of the revisions. Today we will go to the chapter 13. The name is warehousing. The term ware means products or goods. The warehousing generally means storage place or godowns, which is located near a factory to keep the raw materials and the finished products. Normally, you may have heard the word warehousing or the godown, the place where the goods are stored for future use and act as a distribution center. Normally, in our place nearby we are living areas, we have seen many of the warehousing are the godowns. So, how did we understand the meaning of the godowns or the warehousing? Just it means just a place where the goods are stored for future use and it will be act as a distribution center. Why we have to store the produced commodities in this warehousing means as a distribution centers, because mostly we will produce the producers will produce the commodities at throughout the years, but it will never go to the market as a throughout the years. Some of the goods will be produced throughout the years and it will be go to the seasonable time only. Like that, some of the product produced as the seasonable times only, but it will be go to the throughout the years. Normally, the term ware means products or goods. So, warehousing generally means the storage place or godowns which is located near a factory to keep the raw materials and finished products. Mostly, all the producers will have some of the warehousing or the godowns for the purpose of increasing the supply of commodities or make the goods to available to the peoples on the basis of the demand arised. So normally the warehousing located at the near of marketing place or the production center. The storage is only a holding place of the goods. So storage is only a holding place of the goods. So whereas a warehouse is located near the market to perform the other marketing functions such as grading, standardizations, blending, mining, packaging, etc. The development of science and technology has improved the ways and means of storage. It removes the hindrance of time. Already we have studied in this hindrance of commerce. The hindrance of time means normally the produced product will never go to the market on the basis of the time. So some of the product will produced throughout the years and some of the product will be produced at the seasonable time only. But wherever the product produced in the seasonable time, it will be go to the market throughout the years. And what are the products are produced throughout the years, it will be go to the market in the seasonable time only. So still the demand has been raised in the market. The produced product must be protective in any of the place. So we need any one of the place to protect the produced commodities. The place only is considered as a warehouse. So a warehouse, it is a place where the goods are stored for the future use and act as a distribution center. How the warehouse will be act as a distribution center? Just if you think yourself, you can understand one thing. So all the product have to be in the ready of distribution to the public in the market. So we never knows about the demand of the commodities whenever the demand will be raised and wherever the demand will be going to increase. But even though if you are not knowing about the demand wherever and whenever it will be raised, so the producers must be ready to distribute the produced commodities. So if you are protecting, if you are storage the produced commodities if in any of the any of the place, so all the producers will be ready to distribute the commodity. For example, to keep perishable items like fruits and vegetables, cold storage are required. Cold storage means so in any of the warehousing will have the cold facilities. So normally the fish and the vegetables and the fruits have to be protected within the 1 day. Within the 1 day we have to distribute to the market or the public. But the fish is also catched by the fishermen within the abundantly. So certain pharmaceutical products are to be kept under suitable temperatures. When we are produced the pharmaceuticals product, that is the medicines must be required the temperature cold storage. So we must be have some of the place to protect the commodities on the basis of the items on the basis of the features of commodities. Next, warehousing. So warehousing is also just different from the warehouse. So it is an arrangement by which goods are stored when they are not needed immediately and are kept in such a manner so as to protect from damage or deteriorations. In this warehouse, simply we will protect the commodities for the future purposes. But warehousing means some of the arrangement will be happen by the workers of the warehouse. So what are the functions will be taken by the worker of the warehouse means? So the component of the goods and the packaging and the blending and standardizations and grading the commodities. So whatever needed to make the market to, on the product, it will be undertaken by the workers of the warehouse. So a warehouse is a commercial building for storage of goods. Stored goods can include any raw materials, packaging materials, spare parts, component or finished goods. So associated with the agricultural manufacturing and productions. We will never know what are the commodities are protected in the warehouse. But even though on the basis of the features of the commodities and the features of the market and the features of the producers, we must protect and we have to take some of the arrangement. Simply if you want to understand the difference between the warehouse and the warehousing. Warehousing is a place where the goods are going to protect. Warehousing is an arrangement by which goods are stored when they are not needed immediately and are kept in such a manner so as to protect from damage and deterioration. So even though if you are storage a commodity in particular place, the stored commodities must be taken by some of the manners to protect from the damage or deteriorations. So what are the things have to be undertaken from the damage and deterioration is called as a warehousing. Next, need for warehousing. Why we have to being in the need of warehousing or why the producers will be in the need of warehousing. The need for warehousing is in multiply. So, in different need, the warehousing has been produced. First one of the need is mass productions. The production is based on the anticipated demand for goods. We will never know about the demand for the productions. Suppose if the demand is increased suddenly without having any of the anticipations by the producers. we have to being in the ready, we have to ready to increasing the supply to the market. So mass production of goods take place by establishing big factories and modern productions. Normally the small entrepreneurs and the medium scale entrepreneurs will never able to increasing the supply within the short run. But if he has the proper warehousing or warehouse facilities, he will be able to increasing the supply of commodities and he can able to produce more. So the market for such goods is spread all over the country. Therefore, warehouses are to be built at different places to store. This protects and provide prompt supplies when demanded. So even if you are not able to predict about the demand of the commodities, the producers will be ready to increasing the supply and ready to distribute the commodities to the market. So if we have the warehousing facilities, the producers can able to take the mass productions. So without having the warehousing or the warehouse facilities, it will be never possible. Next, nature of commodities. Some goods are perishables in nature and therefore it should be consumed in the time to avoid deteriorations. Some of the goods always will be as a perishables in their natures. For example, the fruits are fish and meat and some of the vegetables also will be as a perishables in their natures. So after produced some of the time, it must be going to the consumed. Otherwise, it will never get the reasonable price. But nowadays, the product will be produced in the corner of one world and it will be consumed in the other corner of the same world. But if you have the warehousing, the nature of commodities will be going to extend. The storing the perishable items in cold storage can extend the life of the goods. If you have the cold age storage or cold storage to protect the perishable items, the life of the perishable items is going to expand. So even if the goods are not getting the reasonable price, it will be have some of the possibilities to get the market. Next, seasonal production but regular consumption. Seasonal production but regular consumption. The farm products such as wheat, sugar, pulses, etc. are produced only in seasons. But the consumption of these products are evenly spread throughout the year. If proper storage facilities are not provided, the quality of these goods deteriorates and may become not usable. Like that, some of the goods we can take for an example. The umbrella and the raincoat is produced and throughout the year, but it will come to the market only on the seasonable time. But some of the crops will be produced in the agricultural land, but it will be going to the throughout the year. So without taking the consideration of the time, the seasonable product will going to the market will throughout the year and the production is produced by the throughout the year and it will come to the seasonable production time only. So without having the warehousing, it is not possible to come to the market. Next, regular production but seasonable consumption. This is also the same way only. So normally the certain goods are produced regularly throughout the year, but they are demanded in the seasons only. For example, as I told, raincoats, blankets, umbrella, etc. Next, proximity to production center. Proximity to production center. The production of goods at specific contents needs to be supplied in time and without interruption to consumers throughout the country. Normally, the produced commodities will going to the market without any of the interruptions. So normally the producers will be taking the care of to locate at the warehousing in the nearby the production center or the market. So if you are arranging the warehouses nearby the production center at the market, so the produced commodities must be going to the market without any of the interruptions. So for the purpose of 5, the warehousing is must be important. Mass production, nature of commodities, seasonal production but regular consumption, and regular production but seasonal consumption. Next, proximity to production center. Proximity means the nearest place to the production center. Next, the types of warehousing. So even though if you are studying about the warehouse, the country or the producers will have the different type of the warehousing. So on the basis of ownership and on the basis of commodities stored, we can classify the warehousing as a different type. If you are considering on the basis of the ownership, we can classify the warehouses as private warehouses, government warehouses, public warehouses, cooperative warehouses, branded warehouses, institutional warehouses, and distribution center warehouses. First, we can see about the private warehouses. So, the private warehouses are built and owned by private business enterprises in order to store the products produced by them. So, normally the private organizations or the private enterprises are produced the different type of the commodities without having any of the helps from the government. So the private owners only have to take all the responsibility to distribute the commodities produced by them. So that private organizations must be having one of the warehouses to protect their commodities produced by them. So they are exclusively for their use and are not meant for other manufacturing or business units. If any of the single entrepreneurs or the single owners are having any of the warehouse, he can use or he will use the product produced by that product the entrepreneur only. If any of the private or individual persons are having any of the warehouses, that is considered as a private warehouses. Next, government warehouses. The government warehouses are created and operated by the government to implement the programs of the government. Normally, the government always implemented many of the schemes to protect the agricultural sector and crops and any of the industry, the product produced by the industries. So their services mostly available to the government only. Here, no individual organizations or no private organizations will come to protect their commodities. A detailed study on all the above warehouses will be given to the matter. Next, public warehouses. So public warehouses is open for public at large. So most of the business organizations, especially small and medium scale units, cannot afford to have their own warehouses. They may be owned by an individual or some agency. So these warehouses operate as per the rules and regulations formed by the government. The government always will be made any of the warehouses to protect the commodities produced by the small and medium scale entrepreneurs, those who are not able to have and build the separate warehouses to increasing the distributions and protect the commodities produced by the small and medium scale entrepreneurs. Next, cooperative warehouses. So there are warehouses owned and managed by the marketing cooperative societies or agricultural cooperative societies. Normally, we may have seen these type of the warehouses. So normally in ration shops and the milk cooperatives and the bread cooperatives and the silk cooperatives will be having some of the warehouses to protect their produced product. They are set up to provide warehousing facilities to their members only. So normally the members will have the possibilities to produce any of the commodities, but they are not able to protect the produced commodities in their home itself. So the cooperatives will provide these warehousing services for their members only. For the purpose of protecting the produced commodities produced by the members can able to or can have the possibilities and the rights to storage in their cooperative warehouses. So nationally, cooperative development corporations will have the example for these cooperative warehouses. Next, bonded warehouses. So bonded warehouses are those warehouses which are licensed by the government to accept storage of imported goods which are not cleared due to non-payment of customs duty by the importer. So bonded warehouses always will be bonded with the government. So these warehouses will be going to protect the importers product. Suppose if the importers are importing any of the commodities from the another nations, and if he is paid to that not paid the customs duty to the domestic nations, this product will be stored and protected in these bonded warehouses. So branding can be undertaken in the warehouses itself. Bank loans can be obtained by the submitting the receipt issued by these warehouses as collateral security. The strict supervision and control is imposed by customs authorities on their operations and functioning. So even though if the warehouses are bonded with the government will be providing many of the facilities and concessions to the importers. Next, institutional warehouses. The different institutions and bodies have their own warehouses on account of the nature of their operations. On the basis of their operations, the different institutions will have some of the warehouses. For example, banks, railways, etc. have their own warehouses for conducting their activities. If you are taking the banks also will have the warehouses with most of the protections. The railways also will have the warehouses without any of the protections, but it will have more responsibilities. So various transport agencies also maintain warehouses for storing the goods which are to be dispatched and received. So whenever the used commodities and the new commodities also will be protected in these warehouses. Next, distribution center warehouses. The goods which need to be temporarily stored for 1 or 2 days so that they can be distributed to the other offices or customers. So normally the distribution centers will be in the need of having one of the warehouses because on the basis of the demand for the day by day demand, the distributors or the producers will be in the need of having one of the warehouses. So for the purpose of storing the 1 or 2 days, some of the warehouses will be situated and located by the individual persons. So they are owned by the manufacturer or the wholesaler. Mostly the wholesaler only will be have this type of the warehouse facilities. So on the basis of ownership, we can have the private warehouses, government warehouses, public warehouses, cooperative warehouses, bonded warehouses, institutional warehouses and distribution center warehouses. Okay students, so today I think it's enough. If you have any of the doubt on the warehouse, on the warehousing and on the basis of the ownership, how can we classify the ownership, please ask me. And just you can take the same topic on the basis of ownership. the classifications of warehousing on the basis of ownership as your study portions. Thank you.